I'll
Yeah, that
share
sounds
my
good.
screen with you. Obviously, I'll mostly be showing you desktop stuff here.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of, if I have time, I can even log in with the mobile app. Um, so I'm actually doing a live report now. And if you don't mind, I'd actually like show you one thing real quick on a live
Okay.
job. So this is a comment, and like all your pictures attached to a comment, that's sort of a color here. And so all of
Right.
this, is a pre-made comment that I wrote. Repair or replace roofing system. That's an architectural grade shingle. The yellow is text replacement. So I can click on
Okay.
that and like change it to a 3 tab or a presidential grade. So I've kind of
Gotcha.
pre-built this, and let's leave it on that. And then I call this a parent comment, and this is why I wanted to show this to you, is this is actually how I've designed the balcony template, is with parent comments, really, where you only have about 4 different comments that you need to choose from. And so
Okay.
this comment, if you read it, is like, hey, repairs are needed to the roof here. Examples of specific observations noted during inspection include recommendation to hire somebody to fix it, right? Repair, replace roof.
Right.
So I just put my cursor here. When I was on site, I took pictures of this roof, and I just used voice to text to caption a bunch of them.
Okay.
So you see how they've got captions. So I put my cursor here and I hit this little magic button. You see the one with the mountains on top?
Yeah.
And I leave my cursor here and I hit that, and I just make a bulleted list of all of those photo captions within that parent comment.
Gotcha.
Isn't that cool? So like you think about it from a workflow standpoint, you have a parent comment, and for you, it's like this balcony is totally screwed and needs to be repaired ASAP. It's in pretty bad shape. It needs repairs and it's fine. I mean, I
Right.
think those are like, we'll go open up the balcony template, but most of the comments, but you can use this technique with your photos and captions to kind of prove why you think it's fine or why it needs repair or why it's in terrible shape.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the workflow is all you really need to do is take pictures and caption them, if that makes sense. Cool. So I'll
Yeah.
get it. This is a home inspection report, but I wanted to show you that concept because and the reason this workflow is so great for your balconies is that what you're looking at here, I call this a chapter: roof, chimney, and gutters. And what we've designed in that template is you can just keep copying chapters for each element you're doing. But then because you only have 4 or 5 different comments per element, this comment becomes sort of like a bucket to hold all your pictures. And
Right.
that way,
Right.
as you work, all of your stuff's organized. It's all in like its own chapter. So even if you needed to like clean up the report when you get home, all your pictures should be kind of in one element, or
Gotcha.
sorted per element. So
So so a chapter would be, say, um 1311 back deck. That would be like a
yeah,
chapter, and then
let's
1311 front deck.
Yeah, so I'll show you all that right now. So I just hit the home page. I went back home, so now's the home
Yep.
screen. You're not going to see all this. You'll be much cleaner, but these are like a bunch of templates that I have that are kind of out in the future. And then these are jobs. I use a scheduling system called iGo, and these are jobs out in the future. And then these are jobs that I've already completed, and I could open them back up. And on the home screen, you could always search. You could put in an address, like I could put in Tolo Road, and it'll start sifting through finding jobs that I've done on Tolo, So if you get
Gotcha.
lots of these, you've got a little search feature to look for them. So now up here, what I want to do is up here, it's saying, I usually use the narrative style report for my home inspections, but you're going to, and because I chose that one last, it's kind of serving that one up to me right here. But I don't want
Uh,
to use that one. I want to show you this. So we're going to actually come down and use the California template. So
okay.
here's the balcony template, and I will load this template for you when we're done, so you will have it. So this is an incredibly simple template compared to home inspection. We have an overview where if you want, you could write a paragraph of like, overall how the inspection went on all these balconies. And that's something
Gotcha.
you just kind of write when you're done. And then you have exterior elevated element inspection overview. So I designed this overview to kind of, you could customize this. So you could do this however you want, but this is a chapter. And then within this chapter, you have two sections. One is a description of the investigative program implemented. The other section is guardrail testing note. Now,
Okay.
I put the guardrail testing note in. There wasn't really anything in the law about that, which kind of surprised me. I mean, guardrails can be a big deal.
Right,
So
right,
I kind of built this of like, if I were doing these, and I don't do them, I'm a home inspector in Washington State, but I worked with a company down there to kind of build a template for them. And I was like, if I were you guys, I'd have a little note that like, hey, I'm not required to test these and I'm not testing them kind of thing.
right.
So feel free to edit this. And let's say that, all of this language I kind of put in here, right? And let's say you wanted to like change this and, you wrote a bunch of stuff. As soon as you write that stuff, you can come up to the three dots in this comment and just update the library. And then it'll
Gotcha.
remember that comment for next time. It'll remember your changes. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So these three dots are kind of the keys to the kingdom for almost everything. So right now I'm inside of a comment and I hit the three dots. I could update the library, or if you wrote something, I could start a new observation that's just blank and I could come in here and add it to the library, So that's sort of how you add things to the library. And then within this section, if I hit these three dots, I could edit the section, I could copy the section, and you'll see copy chapter is a big thing we're going to use in your template, in this balcony template. So anyway,
Okay.
that's this first chapter here, and that gives you a taste of kind of how some of the chapters work. Notice this comment: in this job we sampled. So you might want to do 100% of these. So you could just click on that and write 100%. I only
Gotcha.
have these two percentages because to me, you're probably doing one of the two. You're either doing it the
Yeah, yeah, it's either
15%
or.
minimum, or you're going to do 100%. So you can toggle that around as needed. And again, that yellow is texture placement that I've built in. But over time, as you get better at ScribeWare, you could author your own comments. You can build your own texture placement. So this is all completely customizable and somewhat arbitrary. It's like stuff I built as a starting place for you. And,
Yeah.
our hope is that over time you start like getting better at using ScribeWare, getting better at doing these inspections, and you learn how to tweak it. Okay, so that's that first chapter, and you're never going to copy this one. It's just kind of, and you could add additional stuff. So I could come to these three dots here and I could add a blank section, and you could call this, whatever you want. You could type something in here and then you could add a comment and start typing, so it's really
Okay.
that flexible. You can kind of, and if I don't want this, I could go ahead and just delete that section and now it's gone. So that's kind of overview stuff. Now the element, this is kind of like, I want to dive into this one because my thought is that this is the one you're going to copy. So let's say on this particular job, we're doing two elements, we could call this one, unit 204, 205 deck. And then I'm going to come here up to the three dots, and I'm going to copy chapter. Now I've got another one. I could call this unit 176 deck, right? And you could
Okay.
keep going, right? Like all you're doing is just coming up here and you hit copy chapter, and we could copy another one, and then you can come up here to rename it, unit
Mhm.
276 stair and landing, whatever you need. You can kind of keep going, and then if you want, you could rename this too, but
Okay.
this is the first one in the section. So let's go back to the beginning. We now have three elements in this one, and again, if you want, you could rename this unit 205. And then I designed all of these to really be like click, click, click on a mobile app. So here, there's this little funny camera icon, but if you click that, it gives you a box. And that's, as I told you, that's like what's key to having a picture, to hold a picture,
Right.
So what I thought about that is you can hit the little camera icon and then just get an overview picture of like, here's the element we're looking at here, right? So let me get some pictures to work with. I'll go into this little folder. I'm just going to grab some stuff off my computer just so we can have something to play with here. So that's how you kind of it's one of multiple ways you can connect pictures. I went into this little media folder here, and then I hit the folder icon, and that's just a
Yeah,
backdoor to your computer. So I went to my pictures, and then I found some
gotcha.
old pictures and attached it. And I would avoid this if I were you, because one of my things I don't want for you is to come home with thousands of pictures that all look the same and have to try to sort them out. It's just going to be a
Right,
nightmare.
right.
So mobile is going to really help you with getting these sorted. So I think I have some pictures of deck. So you could have an overview picture of like, all right, here's the deck we're looking at. So these are
Gotcha.
all
Okay.
just click, click, click. So flashings, I inspected them and they were serviceable. Membranes inspected, serviceable. Coatings inspected, defective. Sealants inspected, defective. Support structure, not visible. Ventilation inspected, inadequate. Right? Whatever. These are just click, click, click. There's no
Yep.
requirement to have these, but my reasoning for building this is it's kind of based on a lot of the law, and it's showing that you're looking at this stuff. So even if there was
Yeah.
nothing wrong, you've kind of like at least said like, hey, I checked this, and here's an overview picture.
So you have those in there, and I like everything that's in there. Um, I I'm kind of a stickler like you about the handrails. So I'd be able to build one in there that says like handrail rail height, um, and then
Yeah,
just have a
yeah,
box that
totally.
says,
That's
meets code requirement or does not meet code requirement.
yeah.
And then I could take a picture and add, it's 42 inches or 41 inches.
Yep. And I'll help you
Okay.
do that if you need it. But like,
Okay.
that would be kind of a great thing for us to work together to build in your template. And once you built one thing in your template that's sort of custom, you'll start kind of getting the sense of how you build that out for yourself, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
my memory when we talked is that you might be able to use this for other inspections. So like, I'd love for you to like be able to tweak this, and then you could start playing with it on some other inspection stuff as well, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So cool. So we've done that, and then we come down here. Uh, let's see, what was this one? This one you probably will never use, and we could delete it for you. I wanted to show you this because it's a pretty cool idea. This is actually, we call this a gunny sacked comment, but basically everything that's in yellow, you would have to click on it and then check on things for anything to show up. Let me uncheck a bunch of stuff and it'll make more sense, I think. I have a bunch of these where I've kind of pre-filled it out, but and you could use this for your guard, but so everything that's yellow here, I'm gonna update this and we'll remake it real quick, and I think it'll make a little more sense. Um, Basically, the only thing at the moment that would print in this comic is specific repairs needed to this element. Examples of observations noted during inspection include. Nothing else will print because I haven't selected anything. But this is really
Gotcha.
neat. This is like one comment with like most everything you could find wrong with a deck built into one comment. So you could click on element structure, serious structural problems, wood decay and corroded metal, So guardrails, horizontal guardrails, large openings in guardrails too short. I have
Okay.
36 inches. I think you'd have to be 42 in California. Is that?
42. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, but you could change that. So this is really pretty cool. I mean, you can drag a bunch of pictures in here, but it's a tool we came up with of like really letting you almost do a checkbox report from a workflow standpoint, but yet it's pretty detailed, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's better ways to do it, but I've included this so that you kind of have it as an option if you want it. But you could also
Okay.
just ignore this and just not even use that if you want. And if you find yourself never using it, you could go ahead and delete it from your template. Um,
Gotcha.
that makes sense. That's kind of what that little
Yep.
I put that in there for that. So then these two guys are doing your heavy lifting, and it's really just one of them. So this one I gave you the ability to give the system a grade,
Okay.
and this is right out of the law. So you could say 60
Right.
days, urgent repair, recommendations. Here are your these are your four buckets for putting pictures in. No problems found, maintenance required, repairs required ASAP, immediate action required. So boom,
Perfect.
you could hit that. It's big in red. you could go ahead and drag a bunch of pictures in. And this is where if you have those pre-captioned, you're just going to go ahead and use your little photo captions to bullets thing. So you'd put your cursor there. Here, watch, we'll do this a little bit. Rotted deck, stairs, noted. You can hit the little arrow to go to the next picture. Significant decay in the wood framing. I'm just making some of this up to like give you a
Yeah.
taste of what you do. Membrane failure noted, and we'll hit save and close. So just do those three. So you'd put your cursor here and hit that little button, and you've made, these are your specific things. This is like, this
Yeah.
is why I'm saying this is urgent repair. Up here, I built a little gunny sack for you. The following action items were noted during the inspection. And this comes right out of the law: significant deterioration in wood frames, significant loss in steel, and water sources discovered, or whatever. This comes right out of that law, so you can choose them. And then this might be kind of how your finished comment looks.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. That's very user friendly.
Yeah, I mean, like I've designed this where like you can kind of click on almost everything, so that, I mean, my goal was like, could you do these without typing? And I really think you can here. Like
So
everything you just
I got
click
a
on.
question about your pictures.
Yeah.
So on your, and like say that bottom right picture, is that a picture that you modified using this program where you kind of blew it
Yeah,
up, or is
this
that?
thing, I'll show you. You just double click on one, and then you can do little ellipses, you can do rectangles, arrows. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You could crop them if you want. There's really quite a lot of, so yeah,
Okay.
there's quite a bit of editing you can do on this. And so what I might do if I were you in the field, the other cool thing you can do is, see here, there's 19 items for review.
Yeah.
If I click this flag, now there's 20 items to review. So if I were you, how
I
I would
see.
work is I would assemble most of this comment on site. I would get all my pictures
Gotcha.
there, and then I'd flag it, and that would kind of be my, like, now if I click this, watch, I can actually tab through like the cover photo is required. Then I can tab through and find, it brought me to the flag, and then next it'll bring me to all these little things. So this will help you remember. You
Gotcha.
can set these as required fields. It'll help you remember to find everything. But, my thought is like, you would have all of these things filled out on site as you go, all of these filled
Right.
out on site as you go. And you'd really have all your pictures in the right place under the right general comment. And your homework would kind of be like, maybe tweaking some captions instead of clicking on a few things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, I've kind of like built something that like I think it would let you hardly need to type. I mean, things that you will want to get good at would be taking pictures and using voice to text to caption them. And if you
Yeah.
want to make a couple notes on this, I'll just give you some tips that have really worked for me. I use the keyboard. I set a default keyboard on my phone as the Gboard, and it's the keyboard made by Google. And I find that the
Okay.
voice to text on it is just better than like what comes on your phone, you know? So you go to
Yeah.
the Play Store and you buy the Gboard, and it's $4 or something, I don't know. And I have no interest in this. Like, it doesn't help me in any way, but I've played with a bunch of them, and I found like that works better. I purchased these aftershocks, they're called, but they don't sit in your ear. They sit on your ear. They go kind of around your head, and they like sit on the bone on your ear. But I think they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a better, the point is, if you get a better mic, you'll get better voice to text, you know?
Gotcha.
So I use that. And then I actually work in airplane mode quite a bit. And this has nothing to do with ScribeWare, but the Gboard, when I'm in airplane mode, is like instantaneous for me. There's no like lagging or initializing. It's really fast.
Yeah, because it cuts out all that searching and roaming and everything it's doing. So
Yeah, it just cuts through all that. And so anyway, those are my three tips for like, and you still, it'll take you practice. I mean, I've been using voice to text
yeah.
for like 5 years, but like my voice to text game is really strong. And my guess is that you could do all of this without typing, and you flag your comments, and you're really just coming home that you'll get the voice to text is going to be wrong, a tenth of the time or something. So you'll have to go clean that up.
Yeah, yeah.
But that would be like, the other thing you can do when you're home is like resequence these. So I could have this one go first, and then move this one up, and you could open this one up. And we do have annotations on the mobile app, but I kind of think it might be just faster and easier to like do some of this stuff when you're back in the office.
Yeah, I
Um,
would not spend the time in the field. Like if I'm doing that in the field, I know that that's a spot for rot. Like that's just, I know that. So
yeah. Yeah, I think just getting your pictures captioned and in the right kind of bucket, so to speak, is what I would do in the field. And then I'd just flag it, and I'd come home, and my homework would just be like, cleaning it up a little bit.
right.
It's not going to take you very long. You're just going to go through each one of these and look for any voice to text things and clean up some spelling mistakes and maybe annotate a few pictures. So, um, so let's keep going then. This is really the honey hole. I built out this thing on the law about type 1 waterproofing repairs. And then there was type 2. Honestly, I don't even remember why I built this. I was like deep in the bowels of the law. I don't think you're going to use this. Feel free to go ahead and like, you know, if
Okay.
if you didn't want this, you would delete the chapter and then you would hit save template. So let me talk about, can I talk about saving templates and how all that works a
Okay.
bit? So when you hit, this is so simple that it's confusing for people. So I'm going to go to my home page for a minute and just talk about it. But what I've done is I've started a job, and I called under the client under this job a narrative style report. And notice the date, 2077. I put it way out in the future, and to me, when I want to make a template change, I go into this job, not a live job. Because when you hit save template, I'll open this up. And all this is a job. It's just a job that I started. And when I hit, if I go and create a new report, it's just building a mirror copy of this report, of this job,
Right.
not the data in it, but like the chapters, and then within the chapter, the sections, and then my required fields. All these little pull downs that I built out are part of the template, you know. I've built these little
Yeah.
shortcuts here. These are called inspector notes. I can click on that and instantly get a comment. And the cool thing is the checkbox here stays hidden, but the comment shows up in the report. Does that make sense? So all of that would be part of like a
Yep.
template change. And so if I want to make an addition to one of these or add a new little pull down, that would be a template change. And when I'm done, I would hit save template. The reason I don't do it on a live job is on the live job, like for your balconies, you'll have customized that template with 40 decks or whatever, and you've named them. And so I would avoid
Right. Right.
hitting save template on a live job, because then that will become your starting place. You know, you with me
Yeah.
there?
I do basically the same thing with the system that I built. I was using an Excel spreadsheet to do all of this. I've
Okay.
done the same thing. I like put a job out. It's like those are my templates, and you know,
Cool. It's really similar to
so
that. And so what you do, what I is just grab, when you start, grab one of these and put it out in the future and say, Philip's template or whatever you want to name it under that. And then
yeah.
what I might do if I were you is go ahead and fork the template. So here I'm going back into the job you and I started. You're going to hit save template and you're going to rename it. And that way you could always go back to mine if you wanted it. If you got
Yeah.
yours so screwed up, but rename it and then, hit save template, and then you'll have forked it. You'll have like a new template and it'll be yours, and you can start customizing it. And that's where, if you want to get rid of these waterproofing things, you probably don't need them. So does that all
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes pretty much sense.
Cool. Support documents. I just built this little chapter, so that if you were working with an engineer and he gave you a PDF or she of, of some work that needed to be done, you could have just attached that right in to the report, and it'll become like a little attachment to the report. So it's
Yeah,
just
and that's good
really,
because I try and get PDF maps of all their properties that I'm working
Great.
on.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
then, because in there, then I can circle which decks or which buildings were inspected on this report, you know?
You can totally. So yeah, you might need to, like, if you were circling it, you might need to annotate that and then save it as a PDF and then drag it in. But anyway, play around with
Sure,
that a little
sure.
bit, see how it works. But that's kind of why I built this, is you could attach PDFs as well, and you just drag them in like a picture. So we have this little like PDF file here. All these little files, you're going
Uh-huh.
to ignore most of them. These are all like, you're welcome to use any of them you want. These are illustrations that we ship with, and you just drag them
Yeah.
in. But the one down here you might end up using, and that's just for PDFs, and you can hit a plus mark up here. And then again, that's a backdoor to your computer. You could go like find the document on your computer and go attach it, and it'll be available for you here to drag in. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Perfect.
This is a really important little icon for you, mobile media. So when you're using the mobile app, that's where all the media will show up. So as
Gotcha.
you take a picture, I could go ahead and open this job in ScribeWare. It can take a minute to load. Have you downloaded the app yet?
Yes.
Cool. So I'm taking a picture of us on our Zoom call here, and see how that's starting to show up. Like now it's just a little holder. Now it's in the next place. My phone's talking to the cloud, and that picture will show up here in just a second. So yeah, that's kind of how all the syncing works, really. You should never, if you're in airplane mode, everything's just stored on your device. And then when you get back to like Wi-Fi, you can
Yeah.
just sync then. There's a setting on the app where you can set whether you want to do cell syncing or cell and Wi-Fi, or just Wi-Fi. And I might just do Wi-Fi. The cell
Okay. And then
syncing,
there's
if you
just
have a really good 5G, it'll work great. But anything that's kind of like an intermittent, crappy cell connection, you're going to burn through your battery because your device keeps trying to sync and you just won't have a good enough connection.
oh, okay. Wonderful.
That makes sense on that?
So let me reiterate what I heard you say that if I'm in airplane mode or I can do it just by cell, if I have 5G, it's probably the best. But if I don't, then just leave it
Let me
to load
rephrase
when
it
we get
all.
back.
So when you're in airplane mode, it won't sync, so it doesn't matter. You're just kind of like, you're not
Right.
syncing. And
Right.
when you're out of airplane mode, you've got the option of doing just Wi-Fi syncing or cell and Wi-Fi. And the
Gotcha.
cell syncing works well if you have a really good cell signal, but if you've got intermittent signal, your device keeps trying to sync and there's no bandwidth to do it. So you'll end up kind of burning your battery out.
Okay.
That makes sense. So you might just
Yep. Nope.
I will often do Wi-Fi syncing only, just to like make sure that doesn't happen to me. I work on an island where there's often sort of crappy
Yeah.
cell signal. So um cool. So I mean, that is literally that simple. I just walked you through your whole template and kind of everything you'd really need to know. Do you want me to try to log on with my phone real quick and just show you what I do on the phone?
Yeah.
Let's see. Calendar, balcony meeting. Gotta let myself in here. Make myself a co-host. Do you know what mobile device you'll be using?
I use an iPhone.
Cool. So when you have ScribeWare on your device, I mean, you'll see like that's the logo and you download it from the
Right.
Play stores, So we'll
Yep.
open it up and we'll go into this template. This is the one you and I were fiddling with on the desktop. The icon at the bottom, just to the right of the camera, is you can see my screen okay, right?
Yeah, I can see your
Cool.
screen. Yeah.
If I click on the one with the mountains on it, that one just to the right of the camera, that's the gallery. So that's that picture I took earlier,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
Um, and there's some tools in the gallery. That inverted pyramid here, you can hide media used in this report, which is actually pretty handy, right? You can kind of get rid of pictures that, notice when I uncheck that, all those pictures that I dragged in from on the desktop are now on my phone. So
Gotcha.
my
Yeah.
phone has like talked to the internet and picked up everything I did on the computer, you know? So pretty cool the way the whole everything works with the cloud
So
cloud syncing.
in that what you just did there, I'll probably have some options where I've done an endoscope, right? And I'll load those in from the computer side.
Yeah. And
Um,
then yeah,
so those, but then I'm going to have pictures that I've taken actively there. So the pictures I take out there would be like a picture you took of the screen. And then as I load those other pictures in later, they would pop up here after the
they
fact.
would. Yeah. The trick is you'd want to use the mobile media when you do it on desktop afterward. So you would use that
Okay.
mobile media box rather than the first one I did with that A-frame stuff. Notice how I only have the pictures I used in the report. I don't know if you remember, but I loaded like a
Right.
whole ton of pictures. If I had put all of those pictures in mobile media, they would all be on my cell phone right now. Whereas I kind of used
Gotcha.
this little back door, and so the only pictures that are now on my mobile media are the ones that I dragged into the report.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but so let's see. This is how you take a picture, right? So I could add a cover photo from the camera and then snap a picture. And then I can set as the cover photo, you know. So now we've got a cover photo. So you probably want to get an overview of the job. The camera, when you open up the camera, we've got a lot of different settings up here. There's auto, or 4:3 is a pretty good one, actually. I use 4:3 a lot. It gives you more kind of square pictures, you know. But whatever, you can use
Okay.
auto. These are different settings. Um, so you can play around with that some as needed. You can do a video, you know, just take a video and those go into the report just like a picture does. So you can see, that one might not have saved because I did it so short. So we're making a little video of things. We can hit the stop button, X out, and now that video is available. See how it's got a little play button in there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So let's go do one, you know, like let's say I'm doing this unit here.
So let's say I do a video and then I send this report because that report has an embedded hyperlink, then they'd be able to see that video.
It'll, because the reports are HTML, it just streams right in the report.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's not even a hyperlink. It's beautiful. It's like you're just sitting there watching it, you know. When you print it as a PDF, then obviously, you know,
Obviously, yeah.
then you don't have the video. But that's the real advantage of HTML, is the videos just stream right at you, you know. Super cool. So like let's go do one here. Like, okay, I'm in this element, so I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the little descriptive thing to open it up, and I'll click on the camera and I take a picture, and then I use the X at the upper left to X out of it. And now that picture is attached to this comment. And that's the
Okay.
important workflow. So right now I'm not in a comment. And so if I take a picture, it's just going to go to the gallery. I'll take a picture of my hand, right? And then I X out of it and we open the gallery. There's the picture of my hand, but it's not in the report because I wasn't inside of a comment.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yep.
So now watch, flashings, inspected, serviceable, membrane, inspected, defective, coatings, inspected, defective, sealants, inspected, serviceable, support structure, inspected, defective, ventilation, inspective, just inspected, presence, boom, boom. I'll give this one 60 days. Immediate action required, you know, boom. So you see how when I hit that, you get a little blue line at the bottom?
Yeah.
The reason we add that blue line is that if you click in the blue line, it'll put you inside of that comment. You can click
Okay.
on the comment itself. Either one will put you inside of it. So I'm going to go click, click. Now I'm inside the comment. So now I know any picture I take will be in this comment, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and take a
Gotcha.
picture, and I'm going to take another picture down here. I'll take a picture of this, and somebody sent me a swag ScribeWare bottle opener. Take another picture of my hand and X out. And now you see how all of those are in this comment?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now you could use voice to text. So I'm going to click the picture. I'm going to hit this. Heavy wood decay noted in the framing of balcony 604. Let's try one more time. Sometimes when I'm zooming, it doesn't work as well. Let's just try
Yeah.
again.
Too much lag.
Yeah, let me try one more time though. Heavy wood decay noted in the balcony. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, that's how I work, and I'm telling you, it works like when I'm not zooming, it totally works. And it seems
Yeah, it would make
sometimes when I'm
sense. Yeah.
yeah, so or you can just type in here, you know. You can also
Yeah.
use pre-made comments. I don't or pre-made captions. I don't have any built in this template, but you could hit that little magnifying glass and search for like ledger board or something, and it looks like it found one ledger caption, you know. So you can use pre-made captions if you want, or you can just click it open and use voice to text and, you know, speak in your caption, you know.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I would roll. I mean, I think, you know, that's really it. And like what I would do if I were you is I
Okay.
would get,
Go back to current condition real quick.
yeah, yep,
So, so current condition. So you didn't put a picture into that, right? That's
I
just
didn't.
okay.
Yeah,
But you
I
could.
use this overview. I think that's just
Okay.
kind of like it's just an overview of the whole thing, you know.
Gotcha.
Um, Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you now know enough to just sort of play with it. I mean, what I would do is
Yep.
on once I knew what I was doing and how many units I was doing, I would try to get, oh, let me show you this. This is important. I would try to get the template mostly built out before I showed up, you know.
Right.
But you could do this all on site. So unit 205, let's go in here. You see how there's three dots at the top,
Yes.
upper right? If I click on
Yep.
those, I can copy chapter. So now I've copied the chapter and it won't do the data, just the fields, you know. So now you could
Gotcha.
call this
Okay.
unit 208 and then hit OK. And then we go look at our chapters that just built a new one. If we look at our list here, there's 208, you know. So
Okay.
you could do all of this on site. Just come up here, copy chapter 209. Okay. And now you got a new one, and we'll go look at it. And there we got 209. So you could totally do it on site as you go. I just think if you can, it's probably a little cleaner to show up with your template mostly built, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But that's up to you.
So
Um,
it's got a circle on 209 because you're in. Okay. That actually just answered my question when you scrolled through there. So when it's circle, you're in unit 209. And when it's the little
correct.
flat upside
When I
down
go to the
flag, that's
next
just,
one, yep.
yeah. Okay.
And you wouldn't use this as more for home inspections, but I can actually turn this green. And remember I showed you all those required fields?
Yeah.
If you click it and turn it green, the required fields would go away. So how I
Okay.
use that is like, let's say in my template, I have a crawl space set up, but then in this particular job, there's no crawl space. I can go ahead and just turn it green and that's kind of gone. Because the logic of
Gotcha.
how ScribeWare works is if you don't put data into a chapter or a section, it won't print in the report.
Perfect.
So that's really helpful because you can build templates that have lots of different things in them and then just choose whatever you need, and that's all that shows up, you know.
Right. Right.
So, and you can actually publish from the mobile app, but you're probably just going to want to publish back, you know, in your office,
Right.
but you hit publish report. I think this is kind of all you really need to know for mobile to at least get going and play with it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, usually what I do is this first zoom is kind of showing you around big picture. Then you go let's load the template for you. I would go to the app store and get the app, and then, then it's kind of up to you to go out and like break it, so to speak, play with
Yeah,
it
yeah,
and
yeah.
fiddle around with it, and then make a list of questions, and I can Zoom with you and try to like straighten you out. It would be normal
Okay.
for you to like, have a bunch of questions and not fully get it. I will be sure, I'd like to email you and make sure you have our directions. Let me show you those real quick. I'll email you when we're done here and make sure you have them. But I want you, can you see my Orca report there?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is kind of what our directions look like. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there's a bunch of videos on there. But
Okay.
there's a lot here, and you're, especially for the balconies, you're not using that much of this. But let's say you had a question about like, photos, you can just use the little search like photo tags, annotations on the mobile app, so I don't know, there's a lot of information on here that'll like give you videos and things of how to do things. So it's
Okay.
a good resource to have. Let's go ahead and, because I haven't loaded your template for you, have I?
I don't think so. I was in there a little earlier and I didn't see it.
Okay, let's get that done. I'm gonna go to interval. Copy template and associated library. What's your email? Let me get mine first. Hang on. What's your email address?
It's DLD, David Lincoln David. Yeah. George Edward Nora.
There you are.
Yeah, there I am. Yep.
Completed. So you should have
Okay.
that template now in your library, or,
Okay.
on your, you would go home and then under create from template, you would just go ahead and load this California one.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you might want to put one out in the future, like I showed you, and start,
Yeah, yeah.
just kind of fiddling with it. And, um, maybe what we should do is we'll do another meeting and I can help you build out your guardrail thing.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, I feel like I don't want to overwhelm you at once. Like I wanted to give you an overview and like get you to a place where
Sure.
you could kind of play with it and maybe get 80 or 90% of it done, but make a list of questions. And then we could do another meeting where we try to get you, we could kind of tweak your template a little bit. We could delete those sections that you might not want. I can even log into your account and kind of like help you do that.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I think that'd be helpful. I mean, like I said, for the next like 6 or 7 days, I'm doing inspections every day on one massive property.
okay.
So what I'll probably do is I think I'm gonna use the system that I have right now because I know how that works, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then while I'm out there, I might go ahead and go, okay, well, this is a good deck to try this on, and just put one in there, and then put one over here, and then we can talk about those couple, 3 or 4 that I put in there to tweak those.
I would do that. I mean, I would start playing with it because, like, if you want to get a sense of like what template changes you want to make. I mean, your comment of like, we
Yeah.
want to comment on guards is awesome. And it's like, well, that's easy to do, but we got to like tweak your template so that we're ready for that. So
Yep.
I think on this job, I would maybe like try to fill out five balconies or something using
Okay.
it, and that'll start getting you comfortable playing with it and get you enough action to sort of know what is not working for you. And then
Right.
you and
Right.
I can meet up and I can help you tweak it. Yeah,
Okay.
and then hopefully the next job you would be ready to use ScribeWare on it. And I think it'll be a lot easier than what you're doing now.
Awesome.
Yeah,
No, I mean everything you showed me so far is very, very user friendly, and that's exactly what I like. So
great. Yeah, no,
I
it's an
think we're a good
awesome
fit.
system. And and then like I said, I know you were interested in using it for some other things. So one of the things you might play with is, you see how it says create from template up here. You could just start, you can play with a blank
Yeah.
template and hit create report. And I mean, this is literally how simple this system is. It's like, all right, blank chapter. Well, we could call this siding inspection, and we could call this north side, and you could add an observation. You could say the siding is dead, and then you come up here and you could add it
Yeah,
to the library, and then I'll delete it, and I can use a keyword search dead, and it'll like bring it back. You can change the modifiers. These are all different modifiers that I use for home inspection. I made different modifiers for you for the balcony inspection, and you can customize all these. I mean, you can give them their own colors, their own names, kind of unlimited. So it's a very fun tool. Like if you need to write reports, you can use this for like anything you would want to like have words and videos and pictures, and we could also, you want to just see a sample report? I mean, you've seen them before, right?
yeah, I've seen there. In fact, I did want to ask you about that. The only thing that I didn't see in what you were showing, maybe it's there, but I liked how the report that I saw had all of the law kind of spelled out.
Yeah, and that is in there. So I should have shipped with you the boilerplate, and the boilerplate that we use for that is the law.
Okay.
So here's the sample that I have. This is the boilerplate in the beginning, but I literally just copied and pasted the law, and like used that as like
Yeah, yeah.
So I think one thing I might do if I were you too is
Yep, that's
disable the
it right there.
summary. I don't think you really need the summary, but that's up to you. I can show you how to disable it if you want, and then you would just have
Okay.
like more, just inside the actual report. But we could also create a
Okay.
modifier specifically for items that would go to the summary page. So there's some options around how you want to set up the summary.
Okay. Is there a reason you I didn't see anything beyond 2 years? Any reason why you didn't
You,
go any further than 2 years?
your Zoom's breaking up a little bit, but to have more than this two
Oh,
years.
sorry.
I don't know. I just took that out of the law, and keep in mind, I'm not like an expert on this. Like I kind of about
Yeah,
two,
yeah, I got you.
yeah, I mean, about 2 years ago, a company reached out to us and were like, we want to use ScribeWare for this. And I'm like, well, I'll help you build a template. And so, at 2 years ago, I spent like a week, working with a guy, like reading the law. But I mean, it might not have been quite 2 years ago, but it was like, I mean, that was so early on, like a lot of people didn't really know. I mean, I got the sense this law was going to evolve kind of.
Yeah.
So, take what I've done with a
Can
grain
I
of
ask you
salt.
what his name was that you were working with?
I can't. Stefan was his name. Uh,
Oh, Steph. Okay, it's not the same guy I thought it was.
yeah, but we've got a few people in California using it. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of work in this, I would guess.
Yeah, there's a lot,
Yeah.
and some people aren't. There's a lot of confusion about it. So
Well, I'm glad you found us, man. I think this will be a nice solution for you. So, why don't you go out and break it and then shoot me an email and we'll try to Zoom again and I can straighten you out and help you kind of start customizing it.
per-
Cool. Awesome. You're breaking up a little bit.
or-
I don't know if it's the,
yeah, my internet sucks.
yeah, that's probably why. Um, cool, man. Well, play around with it. And like I said, happy to meet up. We could meet up later in the week or something, whatever works for you. I'd love for you
Okay,
to get it where we could, on your next project, you could be using ScribeWare. And I don't think you're that far away. I mean, I would start playing with it. I could see how we might tweak the template a little bit, but there can't be that much to do to it.
yeah, yeah. I think it's pretty close to where I want it. So
Great. Yeah. So why don't you go out and practice with it, and you might even make a practice report and publish it and everything and read through it and try to do everything you can, but make a list of questions and we'll get you straightened out.
great. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for your time.
Yeah, fun meeting with you, man. Look forward to
All
working
right.
with you. All right,
Yeah,
cheers.
you too.
Bye.
Okay.